All right, welcome to the Ignite Your Passion podcast. My name is Raul Villacis, and I'm here with my queen.
Yes, so happy to be here. My name is Vivian Villacis.
So today we're going to talk about the movie Odyssey. What a journey. Just to watch the movie was an odyssey itself. Everywhere it was sold out. It was one of the most sought out movies out there.
Yeah. And you don't like to watch movies all the time, so I know when there's a good movie like this, it's good that we get out to the actual movie theater and watch it.
But we actually watched it in the IMAX. I refused to watch it any other way than the IMAX. So if you watch the movie, we're not going to give you spoilers, but we're going to break down the three biggest takeaways that we got that it comes down to relationship, because every epic movie has a relationship around it. So
and it's funny because like Raul and I, we focus so much on relationships, and that's always like, okay, this is totally about relationship. It has nothing to do with the war, it has nothing to do with any empire, but it has to do with the relationship.
I think there's nothing more powerful than when a man is fighting everything that he has for a woman. I mean, I think that was the core of the message of this movie, is like when Odysseus lost his way, and he was trying to go back home. And you know, you and I talked about like how the feminine energy and the masculine energy is always attracting each other. But in this case, it was a 20-year separation, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
What did you get from it? What was your three takeaways?
So my hats off go to the queen, because honestly, in 20 years that she was waiting and holding down the fort. And I love the fact when, I'm not going to spoil it, but this is like, I'm just talking about the raw and the real emotion of like what it feels like, of like the yearning of that battle inside yourself to know that you want something, you're willing to fight for it, and you're tired, you're expectant. And yet, deep down, you know that if you wait long enough, whatever your time is to wait, the person that belongs to you, the moment that belongs to you, will end up coming back.
That's crazy. 20 years is a long time.
It was a long time.
20 years is a long time.
I give it
and
to
there
her.
was no
My
cell
hat's
phones.
off.
There was no social media. There was no way of knowing that Odysseus was coming back. So for her, it was a feeling.
Yeah, it was
for her, it was just
a
like
true
this
feeling.
sense of like, he is alive and he's going to come back. And I think it comes down to, he promised her that he was going to come back. And I think she believed in the promise.
They promised each other that they were going to come back. They were going to return at some point. And I think, you know, a lot of us give up so quickly when it comes to relationships. I know we always talk about this, like Raul and I have been married for 26 years. And there were many times in our relationship when I was ready to give up. You know, I wouldn't say like I would walk away, but moments where I felt like, okay, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Maybe this is not the right thing for us. And we were ready to give up. And when I see her commitment and her loyalty, to me was just like the discipline to love. I think that's one of the things that sometimes in our society now, we say that we love, we say that we want to be in the relationship, but to have a discipline to love, it's completely different. And I know that there are many times in our relationship when I needed to bring that more of like the discipline of maybe not wanting to, but having the discipline to love you, the discipline to stay. That kind of shifted our whole relationship, that in itself.
And it was an epic movie to see that love is worth fighting for. So that's what, you know, from that point, I find out love is worth fighting for, that you have to go all in to make sure that you keep the promise. All right. So we're not going to spoil it. If you don't have watched the movie, he may come back, he may not come back, he might be dead, he might be alive. We'll have to watch the movie. All right. Second point, the power of the father. I mean, Odysseus left his son when he was just a baby. And again, his son was growing up. He needed a father. He didn't have a father figure. So you could feel the uncertainty of a son growing up without a father. You could feel the uncertainty of he's trying to create a worldview of what it's like to be a king, because he was supposed to be a king. But then the queen was going to remarry, and he didn't have the strength, the moral character, or the physical strength to actually take his throne, because he didn't grow up with a father. Even though he had people around him, there's nothing like having a father to shape you and mold you.
Yeah, I love that you say that, because I do feel like he had a lot of father figures and it wasn't, you know, the grounding, loving father that we all need in a household, but it was like a community around him that kind of just always steered him back to like, this is the right thing, or this is what I think you should do, or this is the way that I think that you should fight. I think it's so important to have men. You know, I always say, like, I honor all the men who are in a relationship when sometimes the easiest way is to walk away, and yet you choose to stay. Not to say that it's good to stay for the kids, but it's good because you become the father figure that they need. So if the father is not in the home, having the men, the community around you, whether it's your church or, you know, an elder or friends that could be that manly, masculine energy that every boy needs. Like in this case, he needed it so bad. He was looking for it, like wherever he turned.
And I think that's one of the things that touched me in the movie is to see the son. Like I imagine my son, like how will he act if I'm no longer here? If I go into this journey, you know, and then he's waiting for me to come back. So that was a great part.
Yeah, for me, I think also was finding the way back home. You know, just imagine yourself in this situation where like days, years turn into like all this like trajectory of like you being out in the ocean, not knowing how or when to come back home, and then just finding your way back home through trusting that you are going to end up back in the place where you started. To me, like when I kept looking at that big ocean, it's like, how do they even gather the energy to come back to this place? And it was just like that trust that you got to find your way back home. And when he finds his way back home, just knowing that the people that you love are going to be there.
And here's how I think every single man relates to Odysseus, because we all go through that tunnel of forgetting how to come back home. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the story, like he, you know, spent 20 years without his family, and he was trying to come back home. And in his journey going back home, he got lost. Why did he get lost? Because he's afraid to face his darkness. He was afraid to face his fears. Mm-hmm. Only the moment that he was able to find the gift on his darkness, only the moment that he was able to find the gift on the fear, he was able to find his path back. And I think as a man, we always have to look back. Is like if we get lost, or we are drifting through life, or we get lost on uncertainty, is because there's something that we're not willing to face. There's guilt, there's shame, there's insecurities, but the faster we face those feelings, the faster we face those emotions, then we'll find the gift. Because the moment that he found the gift, he was able to see, wait, my wife is waiting for me, my son is waiting for me. I'm remembering who I am. Because this is what happens to us. We forget sometimes why we do what we do. We forget the purpose that God has called us in this earth for. We forget who we are as a man of God, and then we drift through life.
And that's kind of even for me when I'm thinking about like finding the way back home. I love when he was in this, you know, the desert of just like finding his way back home. And it's not just men, there's just women too. How do we go to this place of rebuilding and reconnecting who we are? And it takes this moments of trusting that deep down, like your soul already knows what you need in order to live a life here. So in order for us to remember, we got to take the time to really like connect to this place. And I always like talk to women all the time. I'm like, how do you go back and find this place of honesty of like wherever you are, what is the true emotion for you? What is the truth that you're living with right now? So you could connect with that truth and then feel like, okay, I feel safe enough to know where I need to go. When the feminine feels safe, when the feminine feels like, okay, this is my truth, then I could get to the place of my, you know, whatever the journey is, not a final destination, but like, where am I going? That was kind of like for me, the queen of like, okay, how does she continue to stay strong in who she is, who she was, and who she will be when her man, her king comes back? Like that yearning of like, okay, you're going to wait long enough. And in that time, giving yourself the time to figure out who you are. Without having that. That's
what I think. This is one of the best movies that we watched. I mean, 3 hours went by like this.
I loved it.
I mean, it was an epic movie. So to recap, the 3 things. Number 1 is love is worth fighting for.
Yes.
You know, loyalty, love. You know, whether it's a decade, whether it's a year, like you have to create a compelling future of who you love. And as a man, that's gonna push us through. I mean, I love this woman. I know I will go to the end of the world for her, but I don't know what I would do if I didn't have that compelling future. If I didn't have that sense of like somebody is waiting for me on the other side. The second, the father figure. As a man, we need to make sure that we're there for the next generation. I was just telling a friend of mine over lunch that when I coach men, I'm not coaching them, I'm coaching the next generation. I'm looking at how can I help this man become better for his kids, for his grandkids, because as a man, that's what we have to do. We have to provide leadership for the next generation. And number three is we're all gonna go through a drift in our lives. We're all gonna hit a wall, we're gonna hit a tunnel. It's just finding the way back is finding a way back to who you are. Like facing your darkness, facing your fears, that's all feedback of the way back home.
That's
so,
right.
Thank you, babe. That was a great recap. If you like this content, we found value in this content, make sure you subscribe. Sign up for a couples retreat. Go to powerscouplesretreat.com. We're going to have a couples retreat soon. And
Okay.
if you want to join the next level community, click on the link below. And there is a website that you could join the couples retreat community. So thank you, babe.
Yes,
You're
thank
amazing.
you. I love you.
Learn it, live it,
experience
experience it.
Love life.
Love life.